If you're trying to save up $1 million, how much do you need to be saving each and every month? Depends on your age, but I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. There's a relationship between how much money you're investing and how much time you give it to grow, right? That is part of the formula for building wealth. Joshua Gregory, my co-host and one of my mentors in my career, has said that building wealth is a formula, and it's a formula of how much cash you give it, for how much time, for how much risk, right? So cash times time times risk, and that is, depending on your inputs there, that's going to yield, that's going to provide you with how much wealth you're able to build. And so whether you have a goal of saving up $1 million, it used to be you wanted to be a millionaire. That was a big financial milestone, but that would be your entire net worth. So equity in your home and equity in other assets as well. Now, thanks to inflation and all of that, it's not really what it used to be. So a lot of people say, I want to have $1 million portfolio. I want to save up $1 million. I would more so tell you to figure out how much you need to save and looking at all 6 areas of your financial life and your 5-factor retirement plan to see how much you need to have saved up. But if your goal, whether it's connected to your overall financial plan or just a goal that something you've been aiming towards, how much per month do you need to save in order to save up $1 million? All right, I saw this post a few weeks ago and love the simplicity of it. You'll be able to find yourself in it as well. So take a look. All right, so monthly savings that you need to do in order to reach $1 million by age 65. And now this assumes a 7% rate of return. That is far below what a good diversified stock portfolio should provide. If you go back, if you listen to Dave Ramsey, he says, good growth mutual fund should give you 12 to 13% a year. I would say that's probably overly optimistic. However, the U.S. stock market has averaged somewhere around 10%, a little bit over 10% going back, 100 years. And if you're diversified, taking less risk, 8 to 10% should be certainly achievable. But this is based on 7%. So you can't say, no, this is being too optimistic, too pie in the sky. Well, if you started saving the day you were born, then all it would take is $68 a month and you'd be a millionaire by age 65. Okay, of course, that's not going to happen, although this might inspire some of you with young kids to say, all right, I'm going to start setting some money aside for my kids. But this shows you, based on whatever age you are, if from that point to age 65 you wanted to save up $1 million, how much would you need to be saving? Okay, a couple key inflection dates to me. So number one, what stands out is age 22. Why age 22? That for many people might be the start of your career, and you might say, no, I was working through college, or I didn't go to college, or something like that, and my career started earlier, and that's fine. But let's just assume that your career starts at that point. So from the very first paycheck, just like saving up into Social Security, how much would you need to be saving to be a millionaire by age 65? And a manageable amount. Call it $300 a month. And if you look and say, well, gosh, that's more than a 22-year-old could afford. Well, I would argue, and we'd suggest that you save 15% towards retirement from your very first paycheck, just like 12% is going to Social Security from your very first paycheck. So 6.2% from you, 6.2% from your employer. Those are the Social Security portions of FICA tax and payroll tax. That's what's going in Social Security. So if you had 15% from your very first paycheck, if your starting salary was around 40 grand, something like that, that would certainly cover $300 a month and get you well on your way to being a millionaire by age 65. Another inflection point, maybe key point, is if you'd say, well, yeah, but I'm still young and I'm life experiences are more important. I actually saw an interview recently of a young adult just graduated from college, and he actually, the quote said something like, I'm not even thinking about that. My money is very fluid. It goes in, it goes out. I'll worry about saving for the future later. Okay. That's, again, going back to that formula from Josh, you're not going to use that input for time as effectively as you could. But say you started at age 30. Well, around $500 a month is what you need to be saving. What that makes me think of is, well, you could max out your Roth every single year starting at age 30, not accounting for any for any company match or anything like that, just you funding your Roth IRA from age 30 until age 65 would build up $1 million in your Roth IRA. So all of that $1 million would be yours. You wouldn't have to share it with Uncle Sam at all. Now, by age 30, possibly settling down, have a family, something like that. Imagine if you and your spouse both contributed that $500, $2 million into your Roth IRA, tax-free by the time you're age 65. Very appealing, very attractive retirement planning scenario from there. Another age that stands out to me, then jump in a decade further, age 40, $1,234. Didn't stand out to me just because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but actually seems, if at that point, if life hasn't given you the space to save up for retirement, that $1,200 a month, that is significantly less than what the average mortgage payment is right now. And I compare that to not what the average mortgage payment would be at these high, lofty, inflated rates, but the currently, right now, if you look at everyone's mortgage payment, on average, is about $1,600, $1,700. So $1,200 going towards your retirement, going towards your financial future, yes, that would be a meaningful sacrifice, but certainly attainable and something you could do to get on track to reach that millionaire status by 65. And then finally by age 50. And I'm kind of highlighting this age as well, because if you hadn't really saved that much by age 50, or that was a time when you finally said, okay, now my retirement is closer than I originally, it's closer than it's ever been. How much do I need to be saving to get on track, or maybe to save up that $1 million? $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month. Now that would be an enormous sacrifice. However, not insurmountable, especially if you've got two incomes, right? That would be living on one income and saving the other. Huge sacrifice. Yes, it would require you to say no to a lot of things, but if you hadn't been saving at all up until age 50, hopefully you haven't had as much sacrifice earlier in your career, and now the trade-off is a greater sacrifice from there on. But for 15 years, $3,000 a month, doable. Yes, big sacrifice, but you can do it. So what's the point? Well, no matter where you are and no matter what your goals are, hopefully you can find yourself in this chart. What age are you today, and how much would you need to be saving starting right now to have $1 million saved up by the time you're age 65? If you look at your age, so that's first takeaway, I'd have you look at your age right here and say, are you saving that much? Are you currently saving as much as you'd need to, so that from this point to age 65, you'd have $1 million saved up? If you're not, work with your certified financial planner, again, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life to say, well, what adjustments would you need to make to get there? Or maybe you would just say, no, I'm going to make the adjustment right now. I'm going to commit to that, because that vision of having $1 million saved up, I didn't realize it was that attainable. So I'm going to switch to this right now and manage the trade-offs. I'll find a way to live on what's left. So that's the first kind of takeaway that I would offer. The second, though, is going back to what I said at age 30, and that is funding. If you're saving this much for retirement or this much towards your future, what tax situation do you want to have that $1 million saved up in? Do you want to have that $1 million saved up in a non-tax advantaged account at all, so an individual account or a joint account, or do you want it in a tax sheltered account? Okay, a tax sheltered account could be pre-tax, where that $1 million, yeah, that's what your statement says, but it's not all yours. You're going to have to give a chunk to Uncle Sam as you withdraw it. Or do you want it saved up in a Roth account, Roth IRA, Roth 401k, where it's completely tax-free when that $1 million is fully your dollars? The final takeaway is $1 million even the target that you should be aiming at? Right? Is it, and I've done plenty of videos on this before, but what should your goal be for the amount of savings to save up? That's based on your 5-factor retirement plan and how all 6 areas of your financial life work together. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.